Hi everyone, my name is David Rao and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas here on Facebook, on Instagram, on Pinterest, Twitter, and a variety of other platforms when you search for my name or Make Moments Matter. I'm so excited to be sharing with you. This is week 12 of the Musical Mondays video and I'm recording it on April 1st, April Fool's Day. So if you're watching this several weeks in advance or several weeks later, or if you're listening on the podcast, it's currently April 1st in my world. But I'm so excited to be sharing with you today. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my second grade program that just happened this last Thursday. You know, so much goes into our programs and our concerts, and so I wanted to share with you some of the things that I do, not just the music, and how kids perform it, but also some of the things that I do ahead of time, some things I do to connect with parents, to use the moment for advocacy, some of the fun things that go along with it, and just to share more about the concert, because I know all the time if I do when I do these video surveys or when I ask people, I say, what do you want to hear more about? A lot of people say, I don't know if I'm doing concerts right, or I don't know if performances are going well. And so I just want to talk about that because I think probably we're all doing it right, whatever that means. But I think it's fun to share more about that so that we can all sort of be on the same page about here's what you could do. Here's how you could change the program you hand out. Here's something you could do ahead of time for advocacy's sake. Here's something else. It's just fun to share that sort of stuff. And so that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. This concert was a second grade concert, but you could absolutely adapt the concept and theme for first grade, maybe kindergarten, probably third grade too. Probably take some of the actual songs that I'm going to share about and use them in your own setting if you want to. So let me just jump in. First of all, I'm just going to start by saying, what did the kids get to wear? Because if you notice, I am wearing a shirt with whales on it, and I'm not exactly sure if they're humpback whales or blue whales, but there's some sort of baleen whale. And shout out to my friend Karen in Amarillo for letting me know that this shirt existed. It came from Old Navy, and I'm sure you could still find it there in kid sizes or adult sizes. But when I told kids, we're going to do an ocean themed concert, they got really excited. And then it was a lot of the time, the first question is, what can I wear? So I let kids have a variety of options to choose from. I said they could dress up as sailors. I said they could be pirates. I said they could be mermaids as long as you could dance and move in that mermaid costume, because several of the songs we did, they'd have to move. So if they were just, if they couldn't move in a mermaid tail, you couldn't do it. But there are some mermaid costumes that worked for kids. I said you could dress up as any animal you'd find in the ocean, a whale, a shark, a jellyfish, an octopus, anything you can think of that your parents want to help you create an outfit for, you can wear that. And I said, or if you have a shirt that has, whales or sharks or surfboards or something like that, you can wear that. Or if you have a Hawaiian shirt, you could wear that. Or, and I just kept giving them options that fit the theme. And the last thing I said to kids was, or if you don't have any of those things, just wear blue or green or purple, something that looks like an ocean color. My first job teaching was in a building that was 98% English language learners, 87% free and reduced lunches. And so communication with parents was tricky, and also, they did not have money to blow on a costume they would wear one night. And so a lot of the times I would come up with an option that all kids could do. And so I love throwing that option out to kids of, even if you don't have like a jellyfish costume to wear, if you're not going to come as, a pirate, that's okay. Wear the color of the ocean, wear blues, wear greens. And in every rehearsal leading up to the concert, I would pick out 2 or 3 kids who that day just happened to be wearing blue. And like a blue shirt, or especially those girls who had like the mermaid thing where you can change the color with those little sparkle things on their shirt that they can rub up and down and change the color. Or, anything that fits in sort of with that ocean theme, I was okay with. And so I would always point those kids out, because there'd be kids who'd say, but I don't have that. And I'd say, right, but remember I said, Julieta was wearing a blue dress, that'd be perfect. Or, Owen was wearing his jeans and his green shirt, that would work just fine. And so I love giving kids those options. But this was what I wore. I wore my whale button-up shirt, and it went over famously. So that was what I just told kids leading up to the concert. These are the things you can wear. And I didn't have any parents who said I can't find something along that theme. And teachers were really good with communicating with parents about sure this or sure that. I was sure a SpongeBob would show up, but none did. So I'm like a little bit disappointed. But anyway, so I wanted to tell you before the concert started, as parents are walking into the space, I think there's some really fun things that we can do to advocate for what we do before parents even get into the gym and hear their kids sing a single note or play a single note. And so one of the things I did in the hallway was I tried to be intentional about bulletin boards. So the week or two before the concert, I really started trying to push out those bulletin boards because I knew the day of or the day before I'd be stressed out. I wouldn't be able to do it. So a couple of the bulletin boards that I put up, I wanted to share with you. I love putting out student creations in the hallway, so student compositions that match a theme or anything that is an artifact from music class. Oftentimes I'll post pictures that are recent from, second grade or any other grade that's happening in the school so parents can see sort of what's happening in music class. One of the things that I often also will do is I'll send out a message to all of, in this case, the second grade homeroom teachers and say, hey, we're doing a concert about the ocean, and there is bulletin board space down by the gym. So if you want to do an ocean-themed composition, like writing or pictures or something else, feel free to do that and bring one down, and we'll post it outside the gym. Because my teachers, it's a really, really, really big school. I have 1,200 students. So we don't want anyone walking down to the primary homeroom. So parents don't get to see that work in the hallway. And so I tell teachers ahead of time, here's the theme. If you do something that is along that theme and want to post it by the gym, you can. But I had some of my own things that we put out in the hallway, and I wanted to show just a couple to you. This is the wrong theme. This is what I put out for my farm program. But when I left school last week, because I'm currently on spring break, when I left school last week, I still had these posters up and I didn't want to take them down. So I'm going to show you the farm version, which I put up for my farm show 2 weeks before. So I basically just took farm words, animal words, and put the rhythm next to them on a fun background, and I posted them up. This one was called Barnyard Rhythms. That was the title I put on it. I know all of these are backwards. I'm so sorry. But the FaceTime camera, because I'm doing this on my phone, you can't see them forwards. Anyway, these were the farm ones that I put up. For my ocean concert, I had another set called Sounds of the Sea, and I put that out for parents to see, just so the kids and parents are making connections between rhythms and words, and rhythms and music. And actually, there's a whole page. Let's see if I can find it. And it says, all words have rhythm. If you take the time to think about it, everything around us can be musical and full of life. Here are some words, rhythms, and sounds from the farm. Well, obviously, for the set that I put out for this concert, it said the ocean. Can you think of any other great barnyard ocean words to add? And so these are things that I put up, and I put them out right outside of the gym. So as they were walking in, they're getting that. And like I said, of course, it was ocean. I actually just made these into sets and put them on my Teachers Pay Teachers store, and they're 50% off today and tomorrow if you're interested. But I did that today because I'm on spring break, so had time to post that. Here's another thing that I put out, and I think that this will be front ways. You'll be able to see it if it comes up. Hello. This is a bulletin board I did a couple years ago. It really is just an I Can bulletin board, and I cannot zoom in on Instagram. I'm so sorry. It's an I Can bulletin board put into pirate language. What are we doing this year? And so this is, again, I don't know what I just did. Sorry, Instagram. I just did something weird. It's just I Can statements, but they're put into pirate language. So we are going to play many different instruments. We are going to read and write music. And so I printed and posted these out and put these right outside the gym door so that parents would see them before they went in. So this is just communicating to them what are the national standards for music education and how does that relate. But they're on the theme, so just sort of fun. This is another thing I did, and this is a picture I took of a bulletin board I put out in front of the gym. But it's basically a map for where should I sit if I want to be able to see my kid. And so what's really fun is like if you're in Miss Johnston's class, you know that your class is going to be on that side of the gym. So parents can think like, ooh, I need to sit on the right side of the gym if I'm going to see my kid. or if I'm in Mrs. Sweat's class, I need to sit sort of towards the middle. And this just gave them a map of sort of like where their kid is going to be. This, you probably can't see it, but it said these classes split and stand with the homeroom that they go to specials with, because we have so many classes that some of them split. So these two classes, they would need to ask their kid or just remember, where does my kid go to specials? And they're like, oh, my kid stands in Mrs. O'Hare's class, that's where I should sit. And it says, where should I sit so that I can see my student? Here's a map of where they're going to stand in the gym. So that's just something I've done for the last couple concerts that has been so well received. And at the first concert, I just rolled out this whiteboard and I wrote on it with whiteboard marker. So I was already making these for each teacher as like a thank you. So I was like, why not print out an extra one and put that on the board to like look fancy? So that's what I did. But that's just something that parents have really, really, really appreciated. And so I wanted to share that with you. It's something easy for you to do. Okay, I'll try and bring this back. So the concert map has been really, really helpful. Like I said, it's easy to do. I got fancy and printed out those names, but you can absolutely just take a whiteboard and write it on there. So I did the pirate I can statements. I did the rhythms with the animals and ocean animals in that case. And all of those things are things that they see before they even get into the gym. But it's already getting them like, oh yeah, it's an ocean theme, as if they forgot. And also like, oh cool, here are things that are actually happening. Here's how Mr. Rao is working to advocate for music and taking time to relate music to other things. And so it's getting them in the theme and also getting them thinking about what's happening in music class with their student. Okay, let's see. I have a list, so I make sure I talk about all of this stuff. Okay, so when they come into the gym, I have music playing. I have a Spotify playlist for this concert, and it's mostly the Beach Boys. But it's just, again, to get people on theme and get them thinking. There's Beach Boys music. I had music from Moana. I had Won't You Let Me Take You on a Sea Cruise, ooh-wee. I had Yellow Submarine. I had Under the Sea from Little Mermaid. It's just all these sort of fun songs on a mix on Spotify that was just running through the sound system. So again, I know it's awkward when you walk into a gym and it's just completely silent. So if you're those first couple of families, you really appreciate it. If you're the last few families, you feel like, ooh, we got here and it's going to be fun. And so that music just plays before we even start. I have a handout that I give to parents, and I shared a little bit about this this week. I took a picture of it, and I shared it with all of y'all because I had a question, but I'm going to show you just both sides of it. So Woodstock Elementary School presents Commotion in the Ocean, and then a little blurb about what the concert's about. Second grade, I have the names of the songs that we do. On the back, I have all of the student names broken down by their homeroom, and then down here is my thank you section. On Facebook this week, I asked, do you put your name on the program? Do you personally put your teacher, you music teacher, do you put your name on the program? I never have. And I think part of it is because it's like, where does it go? Like, I don't know how to like say like Mr. Rao students, but I'm thinking I need to put that on there because if parents keep this and scrapbook it and save it, they'll want to remember years down the road, who was that music teacher? And I guess been negligent. I've not been putting that on, but it's just been hard for me to figure out where and how do I put that in. But I think I'm going to put it in the thank you section, just say like, I don't know, music teacher, David Rao, whatever. But I always put some thanks in here that I wanted to make sure I talked about. I always thank the parents because they could have not brought their kids to the concert. So I say parents and family for giving each child support on a daily basis. That's my first thank you. And so it's like them like, oh yeah, I am supporting. I mentioned all the second grade teachers. About a week or two before the concert, I send out a list of the kids who I think are enrolled in their class. Because like I said, I have 1,200 kids and names are changing a lot. So I often send out that roster to teachers so that they can check and say like, oh wait, Jonathan goes by John, or, like so that they can make those corrections. In that email to them, I also ask, do you want to be listed as Miss or Mrs. or something else? I'm okay with putting whatever you want, just let me know. And so I always want to be careful about that. So I put that in, and that's something that I ask in that email with roster so then I get it and I can use that information on this handout. Because I might think that I know, but I don't I want them to have the name used that they want to be used. So I put that on there. And then I always put thanks to my specials team. So the art teacher, PE teacher, library teacher, etc. I always make sure to put a special thanks to my principal, assistant principals, and the Woodstock Elementary PTA. And also I have a special thanks to Dr. Hightower, who's our superintendent, and the Cherokee County School Board of Education for their continued support of the fine arts. I always put that on every program. And once or twice in this last year, I was like, I could take that out. That's probably unnecessary. And then a school board member came to one of my concerts, and I was like, wow, I'm glad I put that on there. But I'm going to sneak in my name in there somewhere. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but just so that parents have that and they know, 10 years down the road who was the music teacher, it'll be easy for them to find that. Okay, cool. So that's something I hand out to parents. So they've got the music playing, they've got Beach Boys going, they've got that thing in their hand that they can sit and read a little bit. But I know that when I ask their parents to drop off their kid at 6:10 and the show doesn't start till 6:30, they're bored and they're sitting in a quickly warming gym. And so I also have something else to show them as they walk in. And I wanted to show you, I always do a scrolling PowerPoint before every concert. And so I want to show you what I included in that in case you wanted to do something similar for your concert. So let me see if I can zoom in here again. Ooh, Facebook. Let's see if this will work. All right. So I always put the name of the show on there. So Commotion in the Ocean. And this is just, I bought a background and I fiddled around on PowerPoint for a while to make this fun little image. So it says Commotion in the Ocean. Then I say this concert was inspired by, because I sent out an email weeks ago to parents, we're doing a show based on this book, but just in case you didn't remember that, here's the book and the author and a picture of the front cover. I show where they can find us on Instagram and a couple little pictures to entice them to go and follow. And actually, a bunch of parents will actually do that. Please check out the Lost and Found before you leave tonight. You may find many lost items on the racks across from the bathrooms right outside the gym door. So there's a slide that shows parents, little images of coats and sweaters and things, encouraging them to go and check out the Lost and Found before they leave. I always put in multiple slides. There are probably about 10 or so slides of things that I put on this pre-show, but every third or fourth slide, I'll put that title slide again, the slide that just says Commotion in the Ocean, Woodstock Elementary School presents, and second grade, just so that it keeps filtering through. Because sometimes parents are like, they want to take a photo of the backdrop or whatever, and they want that slide in there. Well, they got to wait a whole minute for it to come around. Well, so I put it in there multiple times so they can get that shot if they want it. There's a slide that says, if you're interested in joining the Woodstock PTA, check with your child's homeroom teacher or visit, and then their website. So I put that on there. Another slide says, find information about what's happening in music class on Twitter. And then I put our Twitter handle. And there's a slide in there that's a plug that says, do you want to support our classroom? Find our music room at donorschoose.org/Mr. Rao. It's a chance for parents to donate if they're interested, or at least find out what projects we're asking about. There's another title slide thrown in. Another slide that says this concert was inspired by, and then the picture of the book and the author's name and illustrator's name for Commotion in the Ocean. There's a slide that says, donate your musical instruments to the Woodstock Elementary School Music Room. Talk to Mr. Rao for more information. So I'm constantly asking parents and family and whoever, like, hey, if you have that old banjo and you don't want it anymore, we'll take it. And so I put that slide in there in case, they have a ukulele or a guitar or a trumpet that they're willing to donate. I always take those instruments no matter what shape they're in, just in case, for that instruments of the orchestra unit, and I want a demo, I have that on there. And then this one slide says, thanks to the Woodstock PTA for providing the amazing speakers you're listening to right now. These speakers are used for Pack Pride assemblies, field day, and lots more. And then I have little arrows pointing down to where in the gym those speakers will be. And I like to do this because the PTA forked out a lot of money for us last year to buy these speakers. So I like being able to say thank you in this setting, but also remind them, like, hey, remember you gave us this money and we're putting it to good use right now. And then there's another slide that says Commotion in the Ocean. This one's fun because the back wall was actually decorated sort of by our kids. So there's a picture and it says, the fish on the gym wall were made by your kids. Each scale was colored by one of our second grade students. Feel free to come up and take a picture after the concert. And then there's a zoomed in picture of what the scale looks like. I'll show you those in just a minute. And then a sign that says, during deep ocean, the gym lights will be turned out and alternative lighting will be used. Thanks to Reinhardt University for letting us borrow, or for making this possible. And there's a picture of a big purple light bulb. And that's just to warn people, like, I'm gonna be shutting off the lights. Just be prepared, because there are some people who need that reminder, or who need that warning ahead of time. Okay, so that's what scrolls through on my PowerPoint beforehand. Like I said, I put in like how to find us on Twitter, how to find us on Instagram, my school account, a couple times so that parents will follow us throughout the year. That's an advocacy thing. A thank you to the PTA. Maybe they'll donate more this year. But the more that I thank them and show how we're using their resources, the more they'll know that it's worthwhile giving to our classroom. And I always put in little details that parents might be interested in, and please go check the lost and found, because it continually piles up. So just little things like that. I've thought about putting in a slide that says like there are bathrooms right outside in case you need them. Just little things that I know that parents are probably going to be asking about and wondering about. And I put those little hints and things in the pre-show PowerPoint. I change it a little bit every time, but mostly I just take the same stuff and reuse it. This time it had an ocean background, but you can, if you make the PowerPoint, you can just change the background out for farm or ocean or whatever, or just have your school colors and do that, make that PowerPoint once. But if you have the capability to do that, it's definitely a worthwhile thing. And like I said, do it once, change it for each concert if you want or not. Okay, let's see. All right, I've talked about all that stuff. Let me talk a little bit about the decor of the room before I go into the songs. I know I've talked already about the songs in previous weeks, so I'm just going to show you how I've changed them in this video. But let me tell you a little bit about the backdrop and the decor for the concert. So what we did, I am not a person who likes to spend a lot of money on concert decor just because it's like up and down in a flash, and in my heart, we spend so much time on it, and it feels like such a waste to spend all this time for it to be up for just 20 minutes of excitement and viewing. So I've decided to be like minimalist and not try and spend a ton of time or money, especially on those backdrops. So what I did for this concert, in connection with the art teacher and the PE teacher, we sort of made all of this happen. But a couple weeks out before the concert started, I said, okay, I've got this idea that we could make like giant fish on the back wall and of the gym, and we could give each kid one scale to color, and then when we put them all up together, it makes a huge fish. And that felt like a cool idea that would not take a ton of time from us. So what I did was I took these scales and I emailed them out to the homeroom teachers with plenty of time, saying, please color these in and send them back if you have time. I would really appreciate it. And so I got back some really cool scales. Like here's some examples. Here is one scale. And like I said, I made these, but it's just a circle with a little design in it. This one is a circle with sort of a scale pattern in it. And then here's one with sort of a more geometric, just something different to put in there. And so kids colored these. These are the particularly good ones that I saved. But kids colored these. They sent them to us. I had the kids cut them all out before they sent them back. And then all we had to do was we attached tape to one side, and we would stick it up. And then the next one we would attach tape to, we'd stick that in the next spot, so it would make sort of this scale effect. And when they were all up there and they were colored, it looked really cool. I'll see if I can sort of demo. It looks sort of like, overlapping cool colors, and you could get alternating colors and things to make it look like a big, huge fish. So what we had to do is we had to make the face and the tail that go on the back. Some of the little things we added, we cut up strips of butcher paper to look sort of like seaweed, and then I don't know how this turned out, but it turned out, I told the PE teacher, who is so brilliant, I was like, I've got this idea about jellyfish. Like, could we take like colanders or bowls and like have streamers floating from it? And she's like, okay, or could we do this? Or could we? And we ended up taking clear, sort of opaque trash bags, filling them up with colored, crumpled up paper, and then that got glued to the gym wall, and then we had streamers coming down, and it looked really cool. I know that sounds like it was a trash bag on a wall. No, but it was cool, and I think I have a photo here. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. So again, here's that slide that I showed parents. This is what they looked like before. And then this is the fish that came out of it. So I think I've got a zoomed in picture here, but so it really is just a fish on the wall. There you can see those green stripy things sort of as seaweed. We put up some bubbles too. Oh, there's one of the jellyfish off on his left. Sorry, you can't really see it. But I think it looked pretty cool, actually. Here's a close-up of all the scales overlapping. And, I mean, if you give a kid the option to color in and do whatever they want, they're going to come up with a lot of cool things. So we got some really cool scales out of it. Here's the fish on the other side. And it looked really great. She took her silhouette and cut out the words commotion in the ocean, and we put those up on the wall, too. But it really did fill up the gym. It looked really cool. Here, I'll see if I can zoom out again. It looked like a big fish. It was really awesome. And so that was our backdrop, and I loved it, especially because it was created by the kids. And it was something that they did, but I mean, we threw it together, but they really made all those pieces. So parents appreciated it. It wasn't just some random thing that we'd thrown together. It was cool because it was theirs and they had some ownership. So if you're interested in those photos and you're like, I want to like zoom in and see better, on the links for today's Musical Mondays page, or from Musical Monday video, on the Musical Monday recap page on my blog, I have a link to a Google Drive where you can look at like a PDF with big pictures of those fish and the scales and sort of see how I did that. So that's linked in there if you want to spend time later looking at that and seeing it. Or if you're listening on the podcast a couple weeks later or days later and you're like, oh, I missed the video, I'll have to find that. If you go to the links page, you can find that as well. So that was the backdrop. In between, in the middle, I had a slideshow going. So for each song, when I would switch the slide and it just had the name of it, so that parents would like know what's coming next or what song we're on if they didn't already know. So again, the premise of my book, and I shared this a couple weeks ago, was I took the book Commotion in the Ocean. As I was teaching the songs of the last 8 or so weeks, I would, in between each song, I would read one of the poems from the book. And they're cool little poems. Like, let me just read one of these poems. Let's see a good one. Ooh. Turtles, we crawl to the beach from the water to bury our eggs on dry land. We lay a whole batch, and then when they hatch, they scamper about in the sand. So what I did to make this even more special for kids is I took the book to each of the 2nd grade teachers, and on my phone, on the voice recorder app on my phone, I recorded each teacher reading one of these poems. So in between each song, I would have 2 or 3 poems, and I would have the voices of their teachers reading. And I did that way for a couple of reasons. One, so that I embedded the sound in the PowerPoint so I could just click and it would come up. But also that meant that those teachers did not have to come and stand in front of 200 parents. Those teachers were absolutely willing to record it with my phone, just their voice. But to ask them to come stand in front of all the teachers, I don't think a lot of them would have been comfortable with that. Or sorry, to stand in front of all those parents. But they were willing to have their voices recorded. So that's what I did. I recorded their voices. There are enough poems in here that all of my 10 2nd grade teachers plus like 8 specialist teachers were able to read poems, and all of their voices showed up. And the kids loved it. They loved me like, that's my teacher. Or they'd be like, that's the art teacher. And they loved hearing those voices. So that was something cool that happened in between each song. But it also provided some connective tissue for these songs that are maybe not all exactly the same. They're not at all, they're ocean themed, but there is no storyline. There were no kids coming up to do speaking parts. I don't usually do that until about 3rd grade. And so this provided sort of that connectivity that we needed. So that was something that parents knew coming in and that we did that made each of the songs sort of connect together. One of the things I do before we ever start is I give, we all get in there, we file in, we find our spots. My principal says hello to everyone, and then I give them 3 minutes to come up and take pictures of their kid in the nicest costume before they've danced or moved or anything else with their class. And it's like 3 minutes of paparazzi, but it quells that urge to like sneak out and walk out in the middle of a song and take a picture. And so I give them those 3 minutes to like, now's your chance, come do it now. And for the last minute, I'm at the piano like playing the Jeopardy theme. But your time is almost up. And every minute I'll say like 2-minute warning, 1-minute warning. And then by the time we get to 0 seconds, they're all sat back down and we're ready to start. But that's something I do before we ever start, and it helps sort of get parents in and out so they're not paparazzi in the middle of the show. So we start the show. We start with the poem. I read the first one, and the first one was the very first poem in the book. There's a curious commotion at the bottom of the ocean. I think we ought to go and take a look. You'll find every sort of creature that lives beneath the sea swimming through the pages of this book. There are dolphins, whales, and penguins. There are jellyfish and sharks. There's the turtle and the big white polar bear. But can you see behind the wrecks and in between the rocks? Let's take a look and find who's hiding there. And then we did a song about pirates. It was a song that all the students knew, and we all sang it together. It was like our all-sing song to sort of get us all going. And then after that, I did 4 different songs, and each one would feature a certain class. So let me show you. I drew a little picture. I know this is not going to show up very well, but this is, you can imagine this is my gym. Here's the projector, here are the speakers, here's the little sound system, here's my piano way in the back, and here's the audience, right? So each of the homerooms is sort of staggered here in little blocks so that you can sort of easily see like where are the kids, right? So they're just the sort of idea, you know, the groups. So for the next song, Charlie Over the Ocean, all the other classes sort of step back to make one long, huge line. I don't use risers. We don't have enough for 200 second graders, so I don't even bother. Plus, we're in the gym and we're going to be moving a lot, so it would probably just be a hindrance. But all the other classes step back, and the 2 classes that are going to be the demo class that are going to play the game or do the song, do the special thing, they come out and stand in the middle in these big open spaces. And I sort of separate the classes by, you know, different sides of the gym. But that allows them a lot more movement space. So if we're doing a movement activity or a dance, they have that freedom to do that. It also means that each of these parents that wants to take a picture, they're going to get a sort of a closer chance to get a picture of their kid. And I've been there long enough that the parents sort of know, like, ooh, my kid's going to be featured. So not only do I know where they're going to be when they're standing in the main formation, but I know that when they come out in their featured spot, I'm going to get a better chance to take a picture. And so this sort of works for us so that there's like the start formation and the end formation, and then the like in the middle come out and do your thing formation. So for the next song, that's what we did. I played a little song on the ukulele, and the kids came out. We did Charlie Over the Ocean, which is, it's just a playground game. And I mentioned to parents in my preamble for the concert that all of these songs are songs that we do in music class anyway. We just sort of made them a little bit more exciting or fun for this specific concert, but they're all songs that we do. And so what you see, you know, each of these classes has done all of these games, but we just have a couple demo classes coming out to show you how it works. So they came out, and there was one big circle on one side of the gym, one big circle on the other side of the gym. It's a chase game. So we did that through 3 or 4 times. And I just sort of wandered through the gym playing my ukulele. The kids sang. Even the kids not playing the game would still sing. So if they're in the back here and they're not the demo class, they would still sing, but these were the ones who would do the action. So if there was a thing out here where they were doing a sort of fun action, these kids would do a modified version of that action. But everyone was singing all the time, just there were some kids who were doing a special version of that. So then when the class was done demoing, they'd stand up, they would do a bow, they'd go back to their spot, and then I would transition out the next class that came out. And so what I did was I had the first 2 classes do the first song, the next 2 classes were the next for the demo for the next song, the next 2 classes were demo for the next song, the next 2. So then it was easy for me to transition, like, okay, you all go back here and then you all come out. Okay, you all come back here and you all go out. And it just made it really easy for us to transition, move kids in and out of their spaces. Instead of like, who goes next? You all, and you know, it's like, okay, next 2 go. And that made life a little bit easier. So we did Charlie Over the Ocean. That was really fun. Then some kids came out and we did a song called Larry the Lobster. And this is a song from Lynn Kleiner's book, Songs of the Sea, SOS, Songs of the Sea. I've talked about this book a ton of times before, so I'm not going to spend too much time doing that now. But The song is a fun little song, and it goes, Larry the lobster, digging in the sand all day. Oh, what a guy, Larry the lobster, swimming along his way. Oh my. And then we go, look out, Larry, here comes a shark, Run, run, Larry, run, hide in the water. Run, Larry, run for your life. Run, Larry, run, hide in the water. Run, Larry, run for your life. So that's a basic song. I do this usually with kindergarten. And the reason I do is that it's mostly, I originally started doing it for a steady beat activity. And we do Larry the lobster. So hands moving separately. And this was just a fun sort of steady beat, like walking, right? So how did we do this for second grade if it's a kindergarten activity? Well, I made it not a kindergarten activity, and I sort of amped it up. So on the Larry the lobster, that's how I taught it the first time. And then I said, okay, now, maybe you could stand and walk to that beat. So they stood and walked. And then we decided, well, if he's a lobster, he should do sort of a lobstery sort of a walk. So what we ended up doing for the concert was, during that first part, the Larry the lobster, where we learned that it was originally just, walking feet, they did the crab walk. So you had 2 classes out there doing the crab walk, and the rest of the kids were singing. When we go, look out, Larry, here comes the shark, they all stood up and looked around, and they held up, I made them be lobster claws. They held up their lobster claws and oh no. And we said, here comes a shark. So there's a part that goes, run, Larry, run. So they stood in their spot and went, run, Larry, run. So the 2 demo classes were either crab walking or going, oh my, or running in place. It was hilarious to watch. They did it, I played piano. There is a recording on in the book that you get, but I just played piano, did our own version. And it was really fun, even for the kids sitting down in the back who are not doing it. They loved watching. And then they also, in their spot, instead of walking the crab walk, they did the hand motion. For the look out, Larry, they all went like this. And then for the run, Larry, run, instead of running in place, they ran with their hands. So they were still able to be active in that, even though they weren't the ones out doing the demo, and it was still super fun for each of them. So then those kids went back, the next kids went out. We did a song from Newfoundland, a folk song called I's the Buy that Built the Boat, and I've shared about that before. So what I did that was special, it's really short actually. What I did for that was, I had one side of the gym, there was a group that had a parachute. The other side of the gym had a stretchy band. And so we made a little routine where we moved around and did a little repeating dance. The stretchy band group went first, and we all sang, and they did their little action, and then they stopped. Then the parachute side did, honestly, the same exact action, but they just did it with a parachute, so it looked different. We had to modify one action, and it worked really well. So we all sang, and they did their action. And then we did the stretchy band and the parachute together, which was really cool. It looked so visually cool. I thought about having a third group in the middle, but it did not work well for the rotation, and there wasn't room in the gym for that. So I left that out, and we just did stretchy band and parachute, and it looked so cool. And parents thought it was amazing. So again, everyone sang, but we just did the stretchy band, parachute, and then both together, and they just demoed it out in front. And I had teachers grab the stretchy band and grab the parachute afterwards, and again, then they would bow and then go back to their spot, and we'd switch. The last little demo song we did was a song called, let me look quickly. Oh, Down the River. We did Down the River. The river is up, the channel is deep, the wind is steady and strong. Oh, won't we have a jolly good time as we go sailing along? It's a fun little song. I think I don't know where I first found it. It's in a bunch of different folk song books, but there's a folk dance that goes with it. So 2 of those classes would demo it. It was a dance in a long way set, so 2 lines looking at each other. So we had, on one side of the gym, we had a long way set, and the other side of the gym, we had a long way set, and they just went through. So the only thing that I had to make sure was, in class, we find partners and we do our thing, but I didn't want to have to take the time to find partners and have them do that out in front of all the parents. So in their holding room, before they came into the gym, I said to the teacher, the teachers, they need to be in pairs. So we had them find partners early, and if there were, you know, an odd kid out, we would go and steal one from another class or something, so that there would be even numbers, so everyone had a partner, and we made that work. And it looked super cool, and again, parents loved seeing all of that happen. And then they did the demo, and they got to go back to their spot. But it was super cool to see it, and again, everyone sang, and then the kids who did the dancing did the dancing. We did a song called, well, I called it Deep Ocean. In the book, Commotion in the Ocean, there's a page that inspired this, and it says Deep Sea. Miles below the surface, where the waters dark and deep, live the most amazing creatures that you will ever meet. There are fish of all descriptions, of every shape and size. Some have giant pointy teeth and great big bulging eyes. Some of them can walk around and balance on their fins, but the strangest fish of all have glowing whiskers on their chins. So what I did was I took the song from Camille Saint-Saëns' The Carnival of the Animals called The Aquarium, and we just came up with a little routine where we took scarves. On the first part, we would take scarves and I have my fan on in here. Let me shut that off so you can actually see this. We took the scarves and we would blow them with our breath, so they would sort of float up through the air like jellyfish. It's not working so well in my office right now, but they would blow up through the air like jellyfish. And then there's a part of the song where it sort of twinkles down. So we had that part. There was the blowing. These really did look really cool like jellyfish, and then they would twinkle down. And we had a little action, a little movement action that we would swish around. I did the same thing and tried it with ribbon wands, and it also looked really cool. When I first taught this to kids, we did it in a semi-darkened room. So it was like, felt like the deep ocean, right? Well, the thing that I made, that I tried that made it especially cool is we did it with black lights. So for the concert, we shut off the gym lights. There are these black lights you can find on Amazon, and I put a link to them on my links page. But they are LED black lights, and they are legit. So they like filled up the gym. I had 2 of them. I think if you had 4, that'd be really cool. But I just took some gym tape. I put them on little rolling electrical carts, like those, you know, like computer carts that everyone has, and I taped them down so they'd be sort of at kid level, so they're not shining up from the floor. And I rolled those out and just plugged it in and got it set. So let me show you how bright they are. I'm gonna try this in here. Okay. So they really are very bright, and this is crazy. Okay, so what I learned, that some of the scarves are more bright and exciting than others. So these worked really well and looked really cool like bioluminescent jellyfish. And then some that I thought would look really cool do not look really cool. So I learned I need to take the ones that are more fluorescent like highlighters, and I got a couple more from the gym teacher, and those looked really cool. Same thing for the ribbon ones. Some of them lit up really well. This is just a basic green. And then some, if I can find the other one. Nope, can't find it. It's in the dark and it's not lit up. So some others did not look so cool. So, but when we did this with the sound, let me see if I can play it. Oh no. So we blow. It looked really cool. Imagine you had 40 kids out there with scarves blowing as this song is playing, right? And then there's the part where it sort of bubbles down, like this. And I told them to sort of jiggle as they went down to the ground or side to side. And the ribbon wand kiddos did the same sort of thing. Down to the ground. And then they blow again. And it looked really, really cool. Let's see if I can shut that off. Okay. I'm going to turn these lights back on. Oh wait, before I do that, one of the things that we did with the scales on the back wall is that my PE teacher said I have other not as cool black lights as yours, but we put them right underneath the fish. And so the scales popped out really cool, but only certain colors. So what we realized was that the ones that had been colored with a highlighter looked really, really, really cool. See, you can already see sort of with just that highlighter tip. it really pops out. And so we went in that day with our highlighter, and we took some of these things that kids had drawn. Let's see if I can find one that's maybe not so cool. Right, so we went in and we took, and we added highlighter to it. So it sort of, oh, that one shows up really well. Shoot, that's a bad example. We added in some highlighter in places where it wasn't before, and it made that sort of pop out more. So what I realized was the next time I do this, I need to, if I'm gonna have a backdrop, like hand out highlighters or have teachers make sure that their kids leave white space or things so it really pops out and looks cool. Okay, that's weirdly like blinding, so I'm gonna turn my regular lights back on. But that was one of the really cool elements that we added. And it looked, see, oh my gosh. And there are some ribbons that don't even show up that you would think look really cool, but they don't. So these black lights are like LED black lights, so try them out before you do stuff with them so you know what's gonna really show up. That way, if you need to like call the elementary school nearby and say, can I please have all of your pink scarves, you can get those before you need them. But these are super duper crazy bright, and they project a long distance. And it was only $35, and I actually borrowed it from the university nearby that used it for a concert. So super cool and absolutely worth it, and you can use it over and over for lots of fun stuff. For the next 2 weeks, I'm actually going to be using them in my classroom to do this activity, blacklight version, with all of the second grade homerooms that maybe did it in the dark but didn't get to do it with blacklight, so they can all try it. So that's going to be super fun to do in the next couple weeks. But that's what we did, and it made that sort of special. So I have the same, Samantha says, I have the same black light and found that it was super blinding. How do you position it? I ended up pointing mine up at the ceiling. In the gym, like I said, it was on a rolling cart and sort of pointed straight out, and kids like creatures in the deep, they like gravitated toward it. So we had to like make a little line of like cannot cross and get any closer, because there'd be that one kid who like gets right up next to it. So we had to make sure they didn't do that. But when we pointed them straight out, it hit the line so that parents would see it really well, and not be blinding for kids. But I think if you play around, you're right, if you play around with the position, it'll work better, but you just have to figure out what works well for you. Okay, there are a couple other things I wanted to say. Oh, I always, in my PowerPoint, so I put a sign, a slide that said deep ocean, there are going to be other lights, just be prepared. But then in the PowerPoint, I had a slide that was just a black background, and on it, I put the song. So when I click on my clicker, because I have this with me throughout the gym so I can switch to whatever song comes next, when I click, it plays the song. So that's sort of cool and handy. If you take your song and embed it into the PowerPoint, you can just click next and it'll do it. It's easy to do. It's easy to do. PowerPoint makes it easy. The last song we ended with was Baby Shark, which did not take at all to rehearse. It was so quick and easy. And again, I just embedded the song in the PowerPoint. If you don't know this one, I'm surprised. How are you even teaching in 2019? So, and then I ended with that. So that was just a fun song to end with that we all did all together at the end. Like I said, this clicker, I've shared about it before, but it makes life so easy if you have PowerPoints and you're doing it in your classroom or wherever. There's a little USB that plugs into your computer. It makes life very easy. I see Karen said that she got it and she used it all day. It's amazing. Okay, I wanted to talk just quickly about a couple technology things that I did for this concert. So there was the black light, but I bought a couple weeks ago, the sound system in my room was dying, and I love using a personal microphone because I find that my voice gets really tired, but if I have a microphone to sing into, kids can hear it, and it makes it much easier. Julie asked what brand is the clicker. I put it in the links, but it's like Huacam. There are a bunch of different brands that look exactly like this, and they must have all been made by the same company, but maybe have a different name on them. Just choose the cheaper one, it's fine. This one was like $13, but I think I put the link to that on the links page. So I bought this on Amazon for $40, and I didn't know if it would work. Okay, I can wear it Madonna style, Britney style if I want, but I don't want to do that because it gets in the way. I wear it around my neck like this and just point this up, and it works just as well. So anyway, so I have this. It comes with a little belt pack, and you just turn the radio part on, right? Okay. And then the other end looks like this. And it comes with a little 1/4-inch hookup. So for this concert, I just plugged it right into the sound system, and that was easy. And then for today, let me just show you how it works. I've got my little Bluetooth speaker, right? Okay. And this comes with an adapter, so I can turn the 1/4-inch into an auxiliary cable. Just showing you this to show you how easy it is. And you can hear my voice maybe coming through the speaker. So now everything you can hear comes through the speaker. It's that easy. It really connects so simply, and it was only $40. So it made my life really easy for the concert. One of the things that I was doing for the concert, I'm going to shut this off. One of the things I was doing for the concert was a lot of ukulele playing, and you can't hear that. So what I did was this system comes with the headset, or it comes with this little lavalier microphone. So what I did was I took my ukulele, and I have a hug strap. I've shared about that before. I think it's like the coolest, best strap for ukulele, but that's just me. And I like it because it hugs my ukulele, so I don't have to drill an end pin in to hook on the strap. So already I have this strap right here. So what I did, let's see if I can show y'all. I took my little lavalier microphone and I clipped it onto the hug strap. So it's right here, like right above the sound hole. You could scoot it up a little bit. I put it on the top because on the bottom, I realized when I was strumming, I would sort of hit it. But the nice thing is when you strum a ukulele, you strum up here. So I'm not actually strumming next to the microphone itself. So when I would strum here, I would just take the microphone and plug that into my belt pack. And then when I would strum it, it would go through the sound system. I was no longer mic'd through the sound system, but my ukulele was, and the kids, they don't need me singing. The parents aren't coming to hear me sing. They're coming to hear their kids sing. So this microphone on the hug strap was amazing. I was trying to figure out how am I going to mic the ukulele? And then it just occurred to me that like I have this strap right here and a second microphone hookup. Why not try it? And it worked really, really, really well. So this system, let me show you. Like I said, it comes with the 2 mics. It comes with a headset mic and also the lavalier mic. It's called Infinite Technology. And I put a link to that on the links page. But one thing I will say that you should do, if you're going to get it, is also buy some rechargeable batteries. Because the belt pack takes AA's and the receiver end takes AA's, and they suck the power out of batteries so fast. Like so fast. So I bought this. It was $20 maybe, but it has 8 slots for recharging batteries and 2 for charging USB. And it comes with 4 AA's and 4 AA's that are rechargeable that come with it. So that means that as I'm using it throughout the day, if my batteries die, which they don't during the day yet, I already have a second set that are like ready to go because they're the right size. So 4 of each kind, because each different part uses a different battery. So I have 4 of each kind. So it's like I'm either charging or using, and it is so easy. So if you're gonna get this system, which I would absolutely recommend, I've tried it for the last month or 2, and it worked so well. It's only $40, and it's easy. It's an investment that if like your school can't buy it, it's something that is affordable. But if you're gonna do it, get the reusable batteries too. It's absolutely worth it. I put links to all of that on the links page just to share it with you. Not saying like you need to buy this exact thing, but just to say like this worked for me, and if you're interested, here's where I got it, and here's how I used it. Okay, let me make sure that I've talked about everything that I hope to. So again, I showed you all of those bulletin boards and things that I started and used even before parents walked in. Showed them the map of where their kid's going to stand. We talked about what the kids wore. I took you through the sort of pre-show and all of that. We went through all of the decor in the gym, how I used the book, and how teachers basically read poems in between each song. So as a class was transitioning out from the gym or transitioning up to their spot to be the demo class, their teacher would read a poem. through the PowerPoint system. I just would click through the next poem and their voice would pop on. And then we'd go from song to song, and the first song we did was an everyone sing, and the last song we did was an everyone sing. And in between, everyone was still singing, but each class got to sort of demo their own thing. So I like concerts like this because, as I said to parents, all of the songs that we're doing are songs that we would learn in class anyway. These are just normal class songs, but we just brought them to you in the form of a concert. So really, I didn't have to take out, and I see someone's asking on Instagram, I didn't have to take out any time for this concert to do songs that I would not do anyway. I sort of structured my year so that I knew like the songs that are good second grade songs, that are good for a long way set, or good for AB form, or good for expanding the singing voice, or good for, you know, a cumulative song. All of those songs I sort of planned around with the ocean theme and just did them all together and then did them all in the concert. But none of the songs that we did are songs that took away from our curriculum. And that's something that I find to be very, very valuable and important. So anyway, I shared a lot, and I know I talked a lot, and I see some questions. Some are questions that are not really about the concert. So I'll come back to Andrew and Samantha. Those are not really sort of in the theme. So I'll come back and answer. And thanks so much for asking your questions here and on Instagram. And I even find when people leave questions on YouTube where I archive the video. So if you have questions later, I'll come and come back and answer those. Let's see. Yes, Barbara says, love the idea of using the scars with the aquarium. When I was trying to figure out, like, what am I doing for the deep sea? I'm like, oh, of course. Carnival of the Animals has an ocean-y sort of song. Let's see if there's anything else in here. I see some really great ideas about, like, where to put your teacher name, ideas about using the map of the gym to show parents where the kids are going to sit, and, like, maybe some further ideas about how to do that. If you have any questions going forward, and you have ideas about this that you want to share, come back to these videos. Like I said, they're always here on Facebook. I repost them on YouTube. I turn them into a podcast so that if you have questions or comments later, you can always go back. But if you leave questions, 4 months from now, I'll go back and answer them the best I can. But if you need a way to contact me, you can always direct message me on Facebook or Instagram, or just email me, makemomentsmatter@gmail.com. But thanks so much for taking the time to sit down and let me share a little bit about my concert, and for leaving your ideas. I really appreciate that. I hope you have a great week, and go out and get yourself a black light like the one I used, or a sound system thing. They're super, super cool, and I hope you got to see that tonight. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. Have a great week.